Good afternoon and welcome to the third webinar of the 2023 IHF Children's Handball Education Week, where leading experts throughout the world of handball will share their knowledge and experience in 7 days. This is the third webinar. We had two on Monday and Tuesday, and we will have 4 more during this week. My name is Adrian Costello. I'm a member of the IHF media team, and I will be your host throughout the next week during these webinars. Together with our experts, who we already mentioned, we'll touch interesting parts of how to create a good environment for children to thrive in handball, from the differences between teaching and coaching, the creation of alternative training materials, and how to best involve teachers, coaches, and parents in handball, creating the perfect environment for children to enjoy handball and to become better players and persons in the future. Like in the previous webinars, of course, you are already used to, we have translations available in French, Spanish, and Arabic. They're simply one click away in the Zoom app. You can find the globe icon, the interpretation icon. Just press that button at the bottom of your screen, and then choose your preferred language. You will have translation available in French, Spanish, and Arabic, like we've previously mentioned. All these webinars fall under the umbrella of the IHF Education Center, which is available at ihfeducation.ihf.info. So you can rewatch these webinars on demand. I repeat the website, ihfeducation.ihf.info. At the end of all the presentations, we'll have a Q&A session. Of course, you're free to send your questions in the Q&A part of the Zoom app, and we will ask those questions to our lecturers at the end of the presentations. So without much further ado, in the third presentation of the IHF Children's Education Week in 2023, we have a guest which will present an interesting theme in the area. It's the methodical development of defensive systems. And with us is Ignacio Torrescusa. Ignacio, please, can you take over?
Hello, everybody. My webcam is working now?
Yes, it is working. You can start, Ignacio.
Perfect. Okay, you can see now my screen. Is it working?
Yes, it is working.
Okay, perfect. So, hello, everybody. My name is Ignacio Torrescusa. I'm the physical coach of the Spanish national team in the first team, and also in the under 18, under 16 coordination physicals and athletic systems. And also I am professor and the director of a school of handball in Spain, in the north of Spain, in Cantabria. And today we're going to talk how we progress from the 1-to-1 defense to 2-line zone defense, how we explain everything to the kids, how to design the task for the child, and different methodological and systems to approach the success in the teaching of the handball to these ages. So here you can see the different points that we are going to talk about, the introduction and explanation about mini handball and what it is, also things that are important to explain to the kids before I start to play, because sometimes we just focus on the game, and we also have to think about how the brain of the child works. It's important that we don't have to build the building from the roof. We have to have everything clear, and if we do it correctly and we teach the kids since they are 8 years old, 10 years old, we earn a lot of time and a lot of learning and skills that later, when they develop their system, they grow up, we have a very good start point to improve everything. Okay, so I'm going to talk about mini handball I know that this presentation and this lecture is to talk about defensive system, but I thought that the best way to start this introduction is to talk mini handball. That is a kind of handball that I saw in different places in Europe, but in Spain we have some special items that we play around the country, and I'm going to explain everything of this. Okay, in Spain we play until they are 10 years old. A thing that we call mini handball. Okay, mini handball is a pre-evolution of handball, and it's an adaptation that we create for the kids when they are very young, because for us the field of handball is very big, and these kind of things sometimes exclude some kids. For example, if a kid doesn't have a good development, or he's not growing up at the same level as the rest of their team, sometimes these kind of kids go out of the sport because they don't feel comfortable with it, and they leave out everything. So for us, the most important thing at this type at these stages are that the kids love the sport, is to create a love to the sport, enjoy handball, enjoy playing with the friends, create feelings, good feelings and associations to the sport, because this is one of the most important things. In other sports, I don't know in your countries, but in Spain, other sports start to competitive sport very, very soon. And this sometimes create very bad feelings, an environment that is not correct. The context of the people is not grateful. The fathers and mothers yelling to the referees, for example, and creates the context that it is not, in our opinion, the better context to develop the love to sport, the teammates workout, the different things that are around the sport and that are very important also to the develop of the sport. Until 10 years old, we play handball, and after that we play handball. After 10 years old, we play mini handball, and until 12, we play handball, but with different rules than the older people. Okay, what is mini handball? Is we create an spaces, 3 fields from one field of handball, as you can see there. The normal handball court that is 40 meters and 20 meters. We divide it in 3 stages, 3 fields. It depends also about the resources that you have, because sometimes you don't have enough space and you just put it 2 fields. Sometimes you just put it 1 field because there are other sports playing on the other part of the field. So sometimes you have to do adaptation of these kind of things. This is how we work in Spain, in the Spanish clubs. I have been working to a Spanish club on Madrid, on the capital, and also on the north of Spain, and this is our way to work. Some other clubs maybe works in other ways, and also in your country is probably that you do it different. This is not the correct one thing to do it. One of the most beautiful things about our sport is that the same goal you can be achieved in 1,000 different ways. So if you have a way to play handball or mini handball at these ages, and it is correct for you and it is working for you, go ahead, because there is not just one correct answer. There are many different ways to achieve our goals. So go ahead if it is correct for you. The most important thing for me is that see and read and watch different ways of training, and that is one of the most beautiful things to improve your way to teach handball, to train, and also to learn handball, because I think that we can keep learning all our lifetime. So just keep going and keep watching different ways. I think that this kind of presentation and lecture of the IHF are very interesting for that, because you can see different ways of teaching handball, of learning, and keep going with this way. So I'm gonna show different examples of mini handball. This is one of them on the streets. One of the things that characterize this stage is that, as you can see, there are not official regulations in mini handball in Spain. There are many tournaments in different fields, different kind of goals, sometimes different rules. Also, the side of the field changing, and this kind of change are very good for the kids, because they are all the time having to learn adaptation of different fields and different ways of playing. So if one day the goal is 1 meter per two, another day is three meters per two, for me and for on my opinion, and also reading different ways of training and lectures and papers about the skills and the develop of the kids is very good, because at these ages, the goal is not to win, is have different ways of learning, different points and points of playing. And these circumstances don't necessarily have to be negative. In fact, they lead to an enrichment of players, and since it forces them to have adaptability. And for me, it's highly valued on our sports, because if they touch different ways of playing, when they grow up, they are gonna have more tools to develop their game. This is one of the things that I think that we are losing. I don't know if your countries, but in Europe, we are seeing a very big problems about the kids and the time that they are spending on the streets, because the video games, the computer things, they are not developing good skills and good physical skills because of that, because they stop playing on the school, they are stop playing on the streets, they don't have meetings to play and play different games. And these kind of games that are very good for their development are having less adherence than usually. So have the kids in different sports and different fields and different ways of learning is very good for their development. So it's very interesting. So we are going to talk about how we give the information. You have to be very careful about the information, about how, about when and why. We often give players too much information, both the content and the way this information is presented, as well as the timing of its delivery are important. For example, if a kid is throwing a shot, you don't have to yell, throw it harder, or put it on the other side, because he is already doing the action. So let's not forget that they are children, and handball is a very fast sport where many things happen at once, and there are too much people moving around. It's very fast, that you have to be focusing different things, like the ball, like the defense, like the goal, also the referee. And so as trainers, we are also giving all time feedback and information while they are doing the action. Is not a good way of teaching. Probably the game and when they are playing is the less appropriate time to give many instructions and things to correct. I think for me, the moment to do that is the training, or if you are with him on the bench, you can talk with him and say, hey, do you remember that when you do this and you fail the goal or the shoot, or in defense, you are not focusing in the things that you have to be focused on. But yelling all the time during the game is very bad. It's later we are going to talk about this again, but think about it because it's a very important thing. Complex technical and tactile aspects are corrected during training, as I said. And also it's not bad, it's bad, just give the answer to the player. Sometimes when you say something to a player, they don't apply it at the moment, and it's normal because in other people it's difficult. In professional players, when you tell them a feedback many times, they don't get it at the first time. So in kids, we have to be patient. We have to. It seems logical, but we have to be careful about the mistakes and don't cut the development of the kids just because they are failing some things. Okay. Other thing that I see many times is that we want creative players. We want people who do very good 1-versus-1, good shooting, do camp pass or beautiful passes. But when our kids are doing that kind of stuff, like passing by the back or throwing a special shot, a trick, or a skill shot, we don't give them the good feedback, just if it is goal. If something is goal, it's correct. But if it is not, we many times say bad things to the kids, and that is not a good way. If we want to improve these kind of things, we need to let them to do it. And this is a thing that many times we don't think about it, but for the kids, our feedback is very important. And if our kids is doing, for example, a back pass or a special skill and they fail, we want to make it more and try again, because this is a very good thing. And if we want to create, we want to make creating players, we need to let them to do creative things. So let them. Now we are going to talk about methodological considerations, rediscovery of what was learning in previous stages. For example, when they are under 12, have rediscovery the things that when they are 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. Also have focus on the perceptive motor qualities, the basic abilities. I see many times that we teach tactical things to our kids when they are 13, and when we watch them boxing the ball or trying to defend, they don't have the basic things learned. So we are teaching them a special play that of the playbook that if you do this, we are going to score every time, and they don't know the basic rules of handball, for example, or they don't know how to bounce the ball, how to drill, how to face a 1-to-1. So basic abilities are very important. Also, develop physical abilities and keep focusing on them is very important. The kids at this stage are a sponge. From 8 years old, before at 6 years old, we have to focus on the physical abilities and have repeated them. And also other experience. It's not bad if a kid are playing other sports too. Actually, it's very good when a kids are playing different sports around their 8 years old, 10 years old. Their skill of everything are very good and improve by doing this kind of sports. Also, as I said, increase and develop motor skills, acquisition of new patterns of movement, based on what was previously learned. Sometimes we have, for example, a very big guy that is not the guy that is the most coordinated guy, but we can teach them basic things and build from there to have and achieve better patterns of movement. And if we have a very good girl or a very good boy doing difficult things, we can teach difficult things to improve their patterns. Also, very important, assimilation, the motor schemes contribute to faster acquisition of new ones, and integration of the different technical elements with the tactical ideas of the game. This implies the simultaneous development of different factors that make up the learning of sport kits and techniques, or what is the same, have the interrelation of the different elements of the game. Sometimes we create and make difficult situation of things that are simple. And it's very important to keep it simple. If we learn the basic skills and the basic things, we are going to earn a lot of time. So please don't complex everything. I see many times complex task and complex exercise in kids that are 10 years old that doesn't have any sense, but in your head, in your coach head, is a very good way to improve because this task is so complex and I have to do this thing and later this and then defense, and you are not doing nothing because the kids at the second stage is lost. He doesn't know how to do nothing, and please keep the task simple because our game is true that it is very difficult game, but you can structure in easy ways. So please let them play and do it simple. The game as the main means of teaching. What is the meaning of this? When a child says, let's play, he knows perfectly well the meaning of exposure. Sometimes I see that we broke the game. We don't let them play. We put it many things that are the things that make it them play. So please, let's enjoy, let's play, and it's just a game. So remember, these team sports have evolved to what we know today from a set of games, playground games that are just for enjoy. So we have to keep this spirit because we lose it very soon, and this is a very bad thing because the loss of love for the joy for the sport is one thing that is very, very difficult to have it again. And look for what better way to teach than starting from the very essence of sport. I mean, why they are doing sport. It is for have friends, it is because they want to become professional players, and we have to know our players and explode a little bit this kind of feelings to when we do the feedback, when we talk with them, and have a real connection with the kids. That I think also that is very important. Sometimes we don't realize that the kids are very intelligent, they have a very good development, so we have to create real connections with them, and don't forget that they are just kids, but also that they are human beings, so we have to create a real connection. Also, we forgot many times that usually we are real role models for them, so don't forget this when you are talking to them or you say something. If you are yelling or saying things that it doesn't feel good, or also it's very important your image, your non-verbal language, you have to keep it, you have to be carefully with this. So before I start to play, first step that now we are going to talk about handball, that must be clear for the kids. Rules, these kind of things, that basic rules. You can't touch the area, you can't touch the ball with your feet, you can't go out the field, you have three steps before throwing or bounce the ball or to pass your partners. And if you have all these things clear, you earn a lot of time and also a lot of development. Also visual strategies that we explain to them to make it simple. Now we are going to talk about this. What are my functions in different part of the game? when we are defending, what are my functions, what I have to do. When we are attacking, what are my functions, and also knowing the field, knowing the sizes, knowing that when you are in the 9 meters line, you have to stop bouncing because you are going to touch the line, that kind of things. Okay, so what methodological systems or feedback we use to defense? This presentation is about defense. There are things about attack, but we are going to focus on defense strategies. So and when they are under 8 years old, the ages is just a way to create the teaching strategies, but they are not mandatory. What I mean, if your kids with 11 years old doesn't know how to do this, you have to start from this. You have to start from the bottom. So if your 14 years kid that is learning handball because they come from basketball or football and now they want to play handball and try it, you probably have to come back to these kind of things that are the basics, and then from this you can develop all the systems, but you have to create and develop the basic things. Defense strategies that we use. We say defend with the name or the number. For example, we let them, we put them on the field and say, I defend number 3. I defend, many times they are at the same school, so they know their names of everybody, and they say, I defend Lucas this time. I defend Maria. So you have to teach them how to do it this, and then let them to do it, because if they learn to have to focus on how I defend, which one I have in front of me, they develop the skill to be focused on defense, and also they learn different ways of strategies that later are gonna be very useful. For example, if we know that I defend the number 3 and you defend the number 4, but in one moment they changes because I am closer to them. Later, when we are playing adult handball, when they are playing in the normal field and normal handball, they are going to do the defense strategies way much better. Gradually, there must be a tendency for the distribution to be made spontaneously. What this means? This means that when we have clear that I defense number 2 and you defense number 8, and we learn in this way, later the progression is gonna be that I defense the guy that I have closer, because we are talking about one-to-one defense. Also, things that we have to be focusing at these stages. Occupy spaces. We occupy spaces all the time because it's the one of the most important thing, and have every time very, very clear who do I defense. This is one of the most important thing at the first stages, because if we have this, later we can build everything, okay? Also, this have many situations that the kids, they don't know what I'm doing in the moment. I mean, sometimes you are attacking and you can see a kid of your team that is defending because he doesn't have clear which moment of the field or the match are we doing it. And also in the other way, we can be defending and one kid is waiting the ball to throw one shot because he didn't realize that we now are defending. So it's very important also at least have the transition moments clear. When we have the ball, we attack. When we don't have it, we defense. I know that it sounds silly or it's not I think that is very complex, but when you are teaching kids at these ages, it's very clear. Also, I have seen this sometimes in 12 years old, 14 years old, so it's important to have this, okay? You can see there that are also the things that are important in these ages of the attack, but we are focusing today on defense. But you can see and read the attack that is also important to complementary the defense. So different things that are important at this age. As you can see here, you can see that everybody of the orange team, the orange team is defending now. The guy with the ball is having one defense, and the guys that are closer are also having one defense. Also, you can see that this a kid with the black t-shirt that is alone, and he's been chasing with the other kids. So this defense is correct. It's very good because what? They have very clear, this guy have 9 years old. They have very clear how do I defense and which one. We are all the time between the goal and the ball, and there is a non-contact defense. At these ages, we don't let them contact, because if you let them contact, you don't have attack anytime, because they start pushing, they start pulling everybody, and they make faults all the time, so there is no game. It's better let the attack a little advantage with non-contact defense, and the kids have to learn to occupy spaces and to know how do I defense, okay? The rest of the defense is focusing on my opponent and also the ball. That is very important. So you can see that the kids are watching the ball, watching my opponent. The kids that is chasing the kid with the black t-shirt is trying to reach him. So this is a very good way of defense. We don't know contact, and we defend in this way. So at these ages, we want this. It's true that the attack is very slow in this time, so later we are gonna see attacking with movement, but these kind of things are important to have clear at this age of mini handball. Okay? We continue with this kind of things. Usual mistakes. Too much focus on the ball. You can see that 3 kids of the black t-shirt are focusing just on the ball, and I forgot my opponent. This is a bad defense because they are not having attention in the things that we want to do it. So they are not occupying different spaces. Actually, they are just 3 kids in just 1 meter. That is a very bad way of defense. And also there are two people with the orange t-shirt of the opponents free. So this is a bad thing of way of defense, and this is a usual mistakes that we have at this age of mini handball. Then they realize that they are doing bad, so they take one opponent, and it's a good correct of this kind of defense. You can see here, we are occupying the spaces that we wanted. This is a very bad attack because they are attacking in very close spaces. So one of the things that we should teach them to this attack is like to have more space, separate the people, and have more clear these kind of things. The black t-shirt team are having very good defense, and also you can see that the guy with the yellow arrow is very good. Please focus on the guy with the yellow arrow, that this is one of the things that are more difficult to achieve in these ages, and is one of the most important. Him realize that there is one opponent free and change the defense and go to her to avoid the attack. It's a very good way. And this is one of the things that are a progress to the normal handball. Okay, some mistakes. almost all the orange players know how, that is now is the moment of defense and to take care of his opponent. But one of the kids doesn't realize that now we are defending. This is one of the usual mistakes too. Later he realized, and other guy make the help. So when we grow up until 10 years old, we keep on mini handball, but defense strategy changes. Now we evolve to the assessment of the defenders is spontaneous and is depending of the proximity to the player when they change possession or when the change of possession occurs. So I defend the opponent that I have closer. We prioritize the defense of the player with the ball and the most fragile spaces. What this means that if one guy is going to the goal with the ball, we prioritize this guy. Before, in 8 years old, we just focus on my opponent. Now we can focus on my opponent and also with the opponent with the ball and be careful with the helps. And the first helps appears, leaving the direct opponent, my opponent, to assist the defense of the opponent with the ball. Okay. In these ages, in this stage, the defense is 1-to-1 in all the field, and it's very important the intentions that we have. One of the key elements is move without the ball. For example, here. We lost the 1-versus-1, so the first helps are going to be needed. The big guy lost the 1-versus-1, and there is 2 helps at the same time, as you can see. I put it again. Please focus that we lost the 1-versus-1, and then the teammates realize. Okay. As you can see here, the assignment of defenders is spontaneous, depending on the proximity of the players, as I said. And our objective is retrieve the ball, no contact, just the ball. We want the ball all the time. We don't want to push the opponent, just touching the ball. And this kind of defense is what we want at these ages. Then the transition to when we are 12 years old and we are now playing on all the field. Okay. Methodological keys, 2 levels. One level that is teaching. Guaranteed learning by level of biological maturation and or by background motor experience. What this means. Sometimes we want a kid of 12 years old that doesn't have a good development or his biological maturation is later to do a pass of 25 meters. That doesn't have any sense. Maybe we can do a defense and pass a 25-meter pass at the first time. Maybe we need to do 3 passes and then have the opportunity of throwing. But sometimes we want things that are for the older players, of the professional players, in this kind of kids that are impossible to do it because their motor experience or the maturation is not enough. And it doesn't matter. We have to teach them the skills and intentions of doing these kind of things. But maybe they can't do it physically, and we cannot be mad with these kind of things when it happens. And also facilitate learning through achievable and challenges that can be do it. Maybe we can throw from 11 meters at these ages. It's impossible. Or maybe one guy can, but the rest of them no. But you can teach them that when is the moment to throw it, how to do it, where how to achieve the spaces, that kind of things maybe are possible, but don't create impossible challenges that are going to frustrate our kids and get us to be in a bad mood because of this. Also, the competition is very important to compete. It doesn't mean that the winning is the most important thing. It's very different. Have the competition as a tool to improve the skills and the develop of the guys, or have a competition to guarantee the levels of competition. We should facilitate participation in the game and the socialization, okay? But competition is a tool. It's not the end. It's not our goal. Win is not our goal at these stages. We want to have fun, to create new skills, to socialization of the guys, to facilitate participation of the game. One thing that we do at these ages, if we have enough players, we create 3 or 4 teams to guarantee that all the guys and girls can play. This is the most important thing. You cannot do just one team to compete in your league and then the rest doesn't do nothing. No, you have to guarantee the competition and the participation of all the kids in your club, in your school, to develop their skills. It's one of the most important things. One, because it's the correct thing to do it. And for me, is in moral and ethic is one of the most important things. And also, 2, because sometimes a guy with 12 years old doesn't have a good development, and then when they grow up, is one of the most important players. And we need to keep them on the sport, because in other way we lost a lot of people in the way, and this is not a good thing. So at these ages, there is a transition from the 3 fields or the mini handball to handball. Okay. Important things: knowing how to act in the game, the specific motor skills. So we had to create technical and intentional automatisms according to roles. The coordination to basic action of each role, chaining and combination of basic actions with the tactical intention of each roles in defense. Range of movement, there is no error in different manifestations of the same movement. Maybe one of your kids move in one way of defense, another can do it differently with the same result, and it is not bad. And the adaptation is the key and the most relevant factor of the position. This is one of the things that I talked before about the adaptation and playing different fields, etc. They have to watch the game in every training situation. When I am resting, I am also watching what are my teammates doing, because there is a very good way to learn too. So when I am not training, or maybe I am not defending, because in this task we have 1 defense and 2 times of rest, you have to be focusing all the time on the training. Don't disconnect of the training when you are doing it. Important things here. The defense, how do we organize it? The defense is 1-to-1 in all the field at the first time. Later, we will evolve to the 2-line defense. We were doing the transition from 1-to-1 defense in all the field to the 2-line zone defense. So as we come back from the mini handball in 1-to-1 defense, then we evolve to the transition to the 2-line zone defense. Okay. Defense strategies, very important. Reduce the reaction time in the change of role. What this means: we lost the ball, we throw, we end our attack, we have to defense very fast. Actually, if one guy is throwing, the rest of the team, we need to have clear that is our time of defense. As soon as I don't have the position of the ball, I defense. Just this is one of the most important things, because we already know the things of opposition, to occupy the space, to how to have different 1 versus 1s. So in the methodological and tactic ways or systems, this is one of the most important things. And the key elements, the new key element in this situation is the contact. We have to teach them how to contact the opposition, how to do the defense, how the technical defense is do it, to touch, to push, to pull the opposition, how to touch the ball of the opposition when we are not having a good defense. This kind of thing that's very important of these ages. So there are different musts on the defense. Clearly, insist on the importance of defending between the opponent and the goal. Is the one of the most important things, because many times we have maybe one kid that is faster than the others, and he lets his back free because he knows that he can come back, and this is not a good way of defense, because later we are going to need to teach them the importance of defending between the opponent and the goal. So in these ages, we have to insist in this. Okay. Also, insist on the defense of the ball and the regulatory contact with the attackers. So when the attack is having the ball, we have to contact all the time, because this is a very good advantage for the defense, and also create the stimulus and the habit and the skill of defending hard. That is one of the most important things in the actual handball. If you can see, for example, watch the last Final Four or the last World IHF Championship, the contact of defense is one of the most important things, because now we have the attack, the attacking positions have a very good skills in 1 versus 1. And if you have 1 or 2 players that are very good doing 1 versus 1, the advantage of the attack is very, very big. So you need to teach your kids to do defense with contact all the time, to realize that the contact is one of the most important things on the defense. Also, you have to insist on the speed to decide and act both in attack and defense. Have very clear these kind of things. So one of the big things that you have to teach them is that it's a team game. You have 5 teammates with you and your goalkeeper, and we need to help one to each other. So I don't have one rival. I don't have to defend my opponent. No, I have to defend an space and all the opponents of my teammates. And it's again to help to each other. It's very, very important thing here. Defense keys. We defend from the moment we lose the ball. Pressure in the opposite field at the first time. Later we will evolve. Okay. Come back by the shortest path. We have to run back at the fastest way as we can. Mark the closest opponent if it is individual defense. Create doubts and uncertainty of the rival. With this means maybe I'm going to steal the ball, maybe not. I'm moving all the time to create doubts of the guy with the ball, and that kind of things give us more balls. My opponent doesn't receive twice in a row without acting on it. What this means, if my rival have the ball and I don't touch him, at the next time that he have the ball, I have to touch him. Maybe it's not, you don't have to make it a foul, but you have to touch him. You have to make contact with him. You have to be moving all the time to create him that he doesn't have security, okay? And proximity making and its transformation, okay? These kind of things are keys. Other keys. Use the physical control of the opponent making. I know that I'm making too much focus on this, but it's one of the most important things to learn at these stages. It is not violence. I mean, you don't have to punch the rival. You have to contact him and to teach. It's very important also at these ages, the difference between violence and aggressiveness. It's very, very different. Be aggressive with your opponent and be all the time focusing on trying to touch him and be violent. At these ages, it's many times it happens that kids have confusions between what is good on defense, like you have to push him, and they create confusion with this. Please insist that it's not violence, it's aggressiveness. Anybody can touch and push and punch someone. That is not a good way of defense. You have to teach them to defend correctly. And don't be outmatches in 1 versus 1, especially on the central areas. The central space of the field is the one of the most important spaces of our defense. It's the most important thing. We have to prevent the dangerous areas. We have to prevent that people arrive in our center of the field, because there are the better spots to throw. So we let them many times to go on the sides of the field, but we focus on the middle of the field, okay? And the defense, as I said, is never individual defense. And even if we call it individual defense, we have helps all the times. And we also can create false defense, feints. We can feign that I'm going to defense and later come back all the time to create doubts of the rival, okay? Control encourage the use of physical control of the opponent marking, as I said before, okay? One of the most important thing of our game is that it's not a game. It's true that it's a physical game. It's true that it's a tactical game. It's a technical game. But who wins in handball is the smartest guy. You can cheat to the other opponent. Maybe you can create a difference. If you have a disadvantage of your physical, you can create another ways to have a smart defense. I think that the Spanish handball in these kind of things is an example, a very good example of this. When you watch, for example, the under-19 team that is now the European and World Champions, and also the national team of Spain, many times because our kind of anthropological size, we don't have maybe the biggest guys on the field, but all the players of Spain knows how to feint the defense, how to create doubts. For example, in the I remember the semifinals of the European Championship versus Denmark, that Aleix Gomez, that is in the right back, he stole like 3 or 4 balls, just creating doubts in the rivals. Or for example, when you are defending 7 versus 6 defense, many times you can't contact, but you can create all the times doubts on the attack. So this is one of the most important things to learn at these ages, because it's one tool and one skill that is have to be using around all their lifetime of player in handball. And also it's a very good way if you don't have physical development. When I say physical, I don't mean like run faster or the capacity of develop a good physical game. I mean, like if you are 1.9 meters and your rival are 2.1 meters and you have to defend that kind of guys that are bigger than you, this is a very good way to create and reduce this kind of disadvantages. Focus, training. It's very important to train it, the focus on defense. Many mistakes on defense are because we lose the focus. Understood the ability to focus attention on the most relevant and interesting information the player received during training or a match. Okay, what kind of thing I have to be focusing on it. This is also trainable. I mean, you can teach your players what are the things that I should be focusing on it and which ones are less important. This is very important, very important. It's very important that the coach or the teacher or the monitor indicates through his orientations which aspect and information are key in each exercise in order to educate an effective selective attention in the players. What this means? I see many times that I'm going to put an example of attack because it is easier. We are training how to throw faster, and our kid throws and the ball go very, very bad because it goes up the goal so far. It's a very good shot because it is very fast. It's a powerful shot, but it's not goal. And we teach them, you are not making goal. If the focus of the task of the exercise is to throw faster, you have to do and give feedback about that. Forget the other things. Just focus on the things that we are teaching on it, because it's impossible to teach everything at the same time. So please focus on the things that you are training. If it is not goal, or if it is goal, if it is the main thing of the training, okay, it is correct, but many times it is not the thing, okay? So please focus on the things that you are training on it. The player must get used to continually making decisions while playing. What this means, you have to create tasks that are all the time having decision making. That is one of the most important skills that develop as a player. And in younger players, it is difficult to be focused. Move and make decisions at the same time is very difficult, but you have to be keeping and maintaining this kind of task, okay? Have a good focus and concentration during the training is very important too. Many times we have the big thing is the match, and we forgot that the way to win the matches are doing very good on the trainings. Many times I think that the best way to win matches is that to create trainings that are difficult, that are hard to the kids to do it, and then you can achieve a very good level. If you train at this level and the match is here, you never are going to achieve the level that you want. If the level match is here and you train here, probably in the matches you're going to do a way better. What do you want in the matches and how to training? So now we are going to see different situations of the matches and the ways that we train to do it, okay? We have to ensure that the task of our training have transferred to the game. Otherwise, the training lose the meaning. The training lose its meaning. Sometimes we copy training from other ages because we think that is the best way to achieve our success, and we don't think about the stages of development that our players have at this moment. The best training task do not require a constant feedback. Actually, the best training task are when we do an exercise and you don't have to explain nothing. If when you do an exercise, we have to explain several times how to do it, it means that the design of the task can probably be improved. What this means, if you are all the time saying how to do it, that task is very bad. Maybe your kids doesn't have the level to do it. Maybe the design of the task can be improved. But if you have all the time to make corrections about how to do the task, it's a bad task. Change it or delete it, but don't do it. Just like in games, in training, the less we have to talk, the better. You don't have to talk all the time to the kids. They are playing. Let them play. You don't have to say all the time different things, okay? It is very difficult to play handball. Well, it's very difficult to play handball well while a person is talking all the time. Okay, if you have a driver license, imagine that you are trying to park your car and there is a person shouting and yelling you all the time how to do it. You wouldn't like it. It would be impossible. Maybe you get mad if this happens to you. So have the same feeling with the kids. If they are trying to play all the time, you don't have to yell all the time. Let them play, okay? And then you can take them and give them a feedback or whatever. Homework time. Okay, now I'm gonna show you different match situations in kids of these ages in real handball. And I'm going to give you time to think about how you will coach those situations, okay? So we are going to see match situations, and I want you to focus on it and to try to think, how do I train this, okay? Then we will see tasks about those situations in training and see if they are similar or not to what you are, that you had thought, okay? I mean, match situations, what do we want, what is happening, and how would you do it in your training or in your club, in your school. And then I will show you different ways of training, and we are going to look for similarities or difference in the ways of training that you have on your brain and in the way that I am showing to you, okay? So, for example, situation of a match, okay? First contacts, no violence, aggressiveness. We want to make faults. Okay? Take a minute. No, not a minute. Take 10 seconds to think about it. How to train it. Okay? Ways to train this. Okay? Pass the ball. Be focused on what I am doing. I don't know as I am defending, where is the volley? This case is maybe cheating on, but it's doing well. And I have to react to the opponent and start touching him. He can make a pass, but why this task is very good? This task is very good. We are creating the necessity to be focused on the opponent. We don't know where is the ball, so I have to all the time need to adapt to the situation. And my goal is to touch him to create contact to the opponent. Okay. We can create a facility to the attack if we let them to pass to the pivot. Okay. Other way to train this. I have the ball on the hands, so I just can touch the opponent with the ball. As you can see, they are trying to contact with the ball. This is very good because they have to move their legs. You have to be faster with your legs because you don't have the hands to touch it. And also, as you have the ball to push it, you can do another way to contact. So if you learn by this way, later when you have your hands free, you are going to defend way much better. Other ways. Contact, and then 1 versus 1. Okay, first I create a contact, and then I have to do a 1 versus 1. So this have more transfer to the real situations. I have the hands free, I touch, I have to push it, and then 1 versus 1. Okay, different thing, how to train the assistant of the defending. Okay, real situation of a match. It's a free in the green team. I help. Okay, as you can see, I put it again. There are 2 assistants at the same time. How to train it, okay? Think about it. We're gonna see different ways of training it. Three versus three. Sorry, 4 versus 3. So all the time we are in a disadvantage. And we have all the time to make assistant to our partners. Other kind of helps. If it is a dangerous situation, I provide assistance. And if I lose my mark, it's very important to try to recover it. So I lost my 1v1 or I lost my position. The first thing that I have to have clear is to recover my situation. Okay. The most dangerous player on the field is the player with the ball. This is a logical thing, but many times we see that the guy with the ball is going through without any touching, without any defense. So this is one of the things that we need to have clear. Okay, so insist on this. And then I put it again. You can see that this guy lost his mark, the 20, the guy with the 20, and we help them. And he tries to recover the situation, and also he, with the help of the other teammate, they make the fault. Okay, how to train it? Disadvantage of the defense, 3 versus 2.
Bruno, no te quedes ahí.
In a small spaces. All the time trying to do the help to my teammate. A very good way to start an exercise is to pass between defense and attack, and then the roles start doing it. And also that the defense always have a little disadvantage to have to be working all the time, okay? We try to the defense, this kind of disadvantage also have to create the decision making all the time. More helps. As you can see, now we are defending in 2 lines. As I said, we prioritize the center of the field, and the less important areas that are more difficult to throw, we let them. If we have to do the help, we let them to throw at that side of the field. Many times at the edges, that kind of angles are very difficult to have goal. Now, how do we train the change of opponent? This is a usual situation in other handball. The most important thing, the space again. And if the players change the space, we change. And try to steal the ball. As you can see, we evolve from 1-to-1 defense to 2 lines defense. Now we are defending in 2 lines. I put it again, the change of the players. If you teach them how to talk, is a very good way to learn this. Talking in defense is one of the most important things. They change. How to train it? We create different spaces, and if they invite one, we need to go with them all the time, following with a coordination task before. Another good way, this kind of task that you have to be with the hand of your partner are a very good way to create coordination, to create good coordination with the teammates. And we have to make decision about how I defense. Which one defend the pivot, which one defend the other opponent. I am following all the time the ball and my opponent. How to do examples of one-to-one defense. Individual defense. Everybody knows which one is my opponent, and I follow him all the time. How to train this with situations that are all the time changing the opponent, so we have to adapt all the time which one I have to defend. They finished the attack. When I finish, I have to defend. It's very important, the change of the role. We were attacking and now we have to defend very fast. One of the best things of this kind of exercise is that you have many repetitions in a short time. That is one of the things that are most important. One of the things that I see many times is that the players have to wait too much to do a repetition of an exercise. And with kids, we want to do many repetitions of the same task and of the same exercise. If this kind of task, you do it in 5 minutes, a player do 12 times each minute, and in another task, they just play 2 times in each minute, you have to improve that one, because it's very important to create task and exercise that create situations that make them to do it many times, the same task. Also, don't be boring during the training. Another way, one-to-one defense all the time. I have to follow in a close space all the time. I don't know where the ball come, so I have to adapt all the time. They are supporting on the lateral of the field. I have to be careful. Then another ball. As I said, one of the most important things is that we have already 36 seconds of defense. In just 36 seconds of defense, they have defending 4 or 5 times, just in 30 seconds. This is a very good way of training because you need to create situations all the time. Insist on this. You have to create tasks that insist on this, because if it is not, you are not having a good training focusing on the repetition. Another way to training, one-to-one defense. I follow all the time. My opponent, they can not change of the side, so it's easier for the defense. And how we start at the beginning defending, as I said, in individual defense, one-to-one defense. We lost the ball. We start the pressure on the airfield. So we have to defend a lot of space. Later, when we evolve to other defense like 6-0 or 5-1, if we can defend one-to-one in all the field, it's gonna be too much easier for us. Not maybe too much, but it's gonna be a lot much easier if we have this kind of training and defense when we are evolving. We start the pressure very soon. Another thing that we create with this is a disadvantage of the attackers because they have too much spaces between the players that are doing the attack. So it's, for a kid of this age, is very, very difficult to make decisions, good decision in this kind of spaces. And also it's very good, it's very difficult for them to do good passes that are at least from 15 meters. So we have to insist in this. Afterwards, we will progress to the two-line defense, okay? As you can see there, we already have two lines defense with the red team defending. Everybody knows how we defend. We are defending on a space. The center of the field is the most important, and there are not players there. Maybe it's the blue pivot, but there is not people in our space that we want to prioritize. As you can see, the important part of our field of defending is clear. So we have an advantage, and we want this in this kind of stages. This kind of defense, how do we train it? As you can see, I follow all the time my rival, my opponent from the first time, from the beginning of the exercise. The attack have to touch at least two of the orange parts, and then they can throw. So we know that which one of the spaces we are defending. Other way, why this exercise is so good? Because the defense is here, so we have a little bit of disadvantage because we have to run until to take care of the opponents, and also we have to make decisions because they can change the position, and also there is a pivot attacking. So we have to choose which one of the three of the attacking position are going to defend. And this kind of decision making in defense is very difficult to achieve in this kind of ages. So we need to talk, we need to be focused on what we are doing it. We let, as you can see, that kind of angles free. We have to be focused on where is the ball. And we are all the time making decisions about our defense. That is one of the things that we want. And if the ball goes, we keep pushing the attack. We keep trying to pressure all the time. It doesn't matter where is the ball. Disadvantage for the attack because he have to decide. We can make feints when we are attacking, and I have to adapt the situation. I have to be prepared when I defend. Also the feint of throwing all the time, be focusing it. One of the things that are important at these ages is that at the same time, there are individual and zone defense, and also, so there are at the same time individual and zone defense, as you can see here. So we want to go at the same time. There are players that are in one-to-one defense, the yellow ones, and the blue ones that are defending with the blue arrows on the zone because there is a fault. We want to pressure in and push them away from the goal all the time. It's one of our aims. In the moment that they have the ball, we want to pressure. How to train this? 4 versus 3, so the defense have disadvantage. We need to make and create helps and assistance. Another example of this on a match. We want to play individual defense, but the position of the attacking leads us to do the 2 lines. If we can create to have clear how we defense in 1 versus 1, the evolve to the 2 lines defense is gonna be very natural. It's gonna happen in a very easy way. This is also important because there is too much spaces, as I said in the other fields. Okay, we create advantage, provoke mistakes, give time to provide better assistance. When these kind of spaces are very, very big, for the defense is very easy to create mistake of the opponents. One of these kind of things that are very important too is to create intelligent defense. It's like we want the ball, but we want that the opponent create mistakes, do mistakes. This is one of the most intelligent ways of defending. We want intelligent players. We want also physical players, fast players that can shoot very, very hard. But the most important thing that we want smart and intelligent players. Clever playing. Some mistakes of this kind of defenses. The key zone that when it is totally free. As I show you just the good ways of defending, so now I show you mistakes too, because if it is not, you are going to think that this is the best play of the best team of Spain, and so we have to watch mistakes too. If we lose 1 versus 1 in this zone, it's very difficult to help. There's no time of reaction, so it's important to keep them away and to. This is one of the things that we insist of the defending. Other mistake is I lost my position. I don't make contact with a guy that is faster than me. Nobody's gonna help. The center of field is free. We try a help, maybe no contact, but maybe with help we can create a mistake. I put it the game because it's a fast play. Focus on this guy that is doing very well, the movement without the ball, and also how this red one try to do the help to avoid the center of space be free. And he makes walking or steps. What kind of defense do? We want individual defense in this match. But as I said before, what do you think that it is? It's individual defense or it is 2 lines? Both of them. At this stage we don't want to close nothing. We want to adapt all the time in order to increase the capacity of defense and the idea of adaptation to the circumstance. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, don't close your mind just in one thing. And this kind of defense gives us the natural evolution to systems that are closer to the older players and the adult players. This kind of situation, we want one zone defense, 1-to-1 defense, but for me, this is very similar. These types of situations brings us closer to Handball with system defense like the 5-1 through natural transition. For me, this image can be a 5-1 defense. perfectly, and it's a very natural transition. These guys, these players never touch at this moment the 5-1 defense, but they are doing it in a natural way. So maybe it's a 3-2-1. Maybe we can discuss here what kind of defense if it is, but it's a very natural evolution from the 1-to-1 defense, the 2 lines defense, and also then later the system defense that are closer to the players when they grow up. Okay, so I am finishing in a few moments. So just the other very important things, the intentions and the stealings, the attack on the dribble, and the difference intention when we are defending to create clever players, to create smart players that wants the ball, but not just touching or just with the contact. Other ways to steal the ball that are very important to teach them to. The intention to, I lost my position, but maybe I can attack on the dribble and steal it in a very clean way. I put it again. Here, he did it very, very good because he lost the position, but he sees that his dribble goes in the ball and he can stall it. How to train this? Create situations with a lot of repetition of these that are not closed. The ball is there and I have to adapt it and try to reach. This is also a very good way to know how to dribble, to do it well. Another way to train this is in a very good way. The defense have the disadvantage because he's sitting on the floor. He passed and have to reach the opponent. The opponent, the disadvantage that has is have to go through the points that are put it there. I put it again. I am sitting down and have to pass and then go to defend. And trying to go to the dribble or defense 1 versus 1. This is a Spanish typical game that is guys is on the center and everybody has a number. The yellow ones have numbers from 1 to 10, and also the white ones have numbers from 1 to 10. And I say, for example, 5, and you have to go to the ball. The first one to have the ball, to reach the ball, have to bounce to the opponent field. Okay, for example, we are waiting. I say 3. The 2 ones with the 3 have to go to take the ball, and we are there. There is no contact. It's just trying to keep the ball. We throw it there, and it's a very good decision making. 1 versus 1, real situation from the game. The other thing that I talk about it is the intention of defense, the transitions to defense. The intention. My teammate is shooting. We are already thinking about defense. As you can see, it's true that they are kids. They are not. They want to see if it is goal or not. But as you can see, he's shooting, and they are already with the intention to come back. The 7, the 14, maybe the pivot is not faster than the other teammates, but he's doing with that kind of intention. How do we train this? Situations that change the roles all the time, and we have to defend different attacking all the time, trying to follow them. All the time defending, many reps of defending. And later we are going to see the changing roles. I don't have the ball, I have to defend. I have to defend all the time. A new opponent, a new attacking. Okay, other ways. like the other time, the 2 versus 2 in the short field, in the midfield, but with other things. As we have the t-shirt on the hands, we have to be focusing on trying to steal the ball and to reach our opponent. We are defending all the time, new guys, new players attacking, and we all the time defending. Focusing on defense all the time and in coming back. Another way to train this, the taking roll. Sorry, I have a mistake. They are in each time that they arrive to a line, there is a new defending one. Okay, so this is sitting, and now I defend. So I was sitting in disadvantage, and now I have to defend. Okay. When are all the defenders that are 3, the attack can shoot. So just 1 defending, 3 versus 1. Now 3 versus 2. Changing all the time what I have to do it. Now 3 versus 3. This is also very. I have the contact. Good success. As you can see, 3 versus 1, very bad attack in these cases. But we reach the ball. Now we again defend, touch the line, and it's a very good way to work about the fast break too. Okay, more intentions. Where is the ball? Where I have to look for? Where is the direction of the run? We lose the ball. We run to the transition, not win all the time. Where is the ball? We don't run just to our field. We have to run in, focusing also my opponent and the ball, because this gives us a very good advantage in this kind of situation and more odds of steal level. We attack and then we have to defend in the roll in the other side of the field. This kind of situation that you divide the field in 2 parties are very good for the fast break. Also because if you don't have too much spaces. The other thing that are smart players is offer the pass to then steal it, okay? That are very important. I offer the situation and then the stealing. How to train this situation where we don't have the control of all the space. The attack is limited by some ways, but we offer spaces, we offer and the evolution to the real games. Okay. Some things that I recommend of bibliography to train these kind of things: The Perception and Creativity in the Learning Process of Handball. That is a book of Filipino, that it's a French writer that is very good, and for the stages of develop, I really like it. He has a very good, interesting task. This also is a very good book, 1013 Exercise of Game and Play to Handball, of very good authors like Calen, Gerard La Sierra, that is the director of the National Handball Coach School of Spain, Fernando Andrés, and also Manuel Laguna, for example, that is one of the masters of the professor of the handball in Spain and the development systems in the age that the kids are growing up. I really, really recommend this kind of books. I know that maybe, I think that the Filipino book is also in French, but maybe this one are not in Spanish. You can read handball books without knowing the language, because many times with the pictures and the drawing things, you can have clear how it is the task. So thank you for everything. I think that is the time of question. If you have any ones, thank you for your support and for focusing on the presentation, and I hope that you really enjoy it.
Thank you, Ignacio, for this wonderful presentation. Of course, we have some questions. The first one is about defensive systems, of course. If in mini handball we can learn, or players, children can learn all the defensive systems, or is it too much for one time?
In my opinion, I think, as I say, that the best way to learn new different defense systems is to do it in a natural way. What this means, as you can see, when we were defending 1-to-1, we evolved to two-line defense without doing nothing, just because the attack is attacking in two lines. And then when we, for example, have a fault on the 9 meters line, we have a zone defense in a system defense. The way to teach them, for me, two lines defense in 3-3, then 5-1 and 6-0. At the same time, I don't think so. Maybe when they are 12 years old, teach them 3-3 defense and also 5-1, and then do the progression to the 6-0 defense. System defense are just a tool to achieve a goal. So you maybe can do it without saying that this is our system. Many times the kids just have a very good adaptation with these kind of things.
What should be first introduced, the 3-3 defense or the 5-1 defense?
The 3-3 defense is a more natural way to do it, because you are going to from 1-to-1 to 3-3 many times without doing nothing.
There is one other question, a very interesting question. Is it good to use real handball, senior handball, for children to learn and for them to watch and try to improve, try to learn from those senior games, or the development should be kept under the guidance of a coach and with exercises suited for the children, their age?
It's probably that there are good examples in this kind of videos or watching handball that are going to be good for the kids. I insist to the kids to watch handball, whatever it is, just for enjoy, to create an adherence of handball. And later, one of the things that we can teach to the kids is just is to focus in the things that we want to be focused on it. That is important too. And it is a very good way to learn. For example, the position of defense, the technique of individual position defense is it can be taught from the 12 years old. So you can say them focus on these kind of things of defense. Another thing, I think that is too much soon.
How do you improve? Or how does one improve players who are not up to par, are not fully developed at 12, 13 years old? And what exercises do you need to use to teach them a better way of defending?
As I said, probably the most important thing is have to have clear the different stages of the development of our kids. You can see, as I put the 8 years old, this is the most important thing. 10 years old, this is the most important things. 12 years old are the most important thing. If you have a 14 years old that doesn't have clear the 10 years old things, you have to go there, and it doesn't matter. It's if you build from the bottom, then the evolution is gonna be faster. I'm sure of that.
Ignacio, thank you very much for the presentation and answering these questions. We conclude this webinar here. We are waiting for you also tomorrow and in the next days until Sunday at 13 CEST with other interesting webinars in the 2023 Children's Handball Education Week. Until then, have a nice day. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.